I guess I'm on air. Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Podcast. We got AJ, we got Biggie, we got Rudo coming to you live. I'm back after a couple days off. And you know, I figured we spent too much of the offseason talking about tiny little pieces. What depth options are out there? What's left in minor free agency? Enough of that. Let's rate the top 20 players. But not just the top 20 players. Current by their peak. Not who's the best right now, not who's the best over the courses of their career, but who had the best peak of current active players. Now, this is going to get complicated because there are some players on this list that probably haven't really hit their peaks yet, but we have what we have to work with from their careers. It should be fun. We're doing the top 20. We're doing 20 through 11 today. So the first half of the list, I expect this list to be complete chaos because 11 through 20, there's about 50 dudes you could probably make an argument for to be in this section of the list. It's going to be difficult.
This is hard. Like, this is actually hard to do. A lot of these lists are like, well, maybe I'll move a guy around here or there just to see, or I'm going to move this guy in here. I'm going to aggressively put him at 12 or something because I personally really loved him and thought he was underrated or whatever, you know? But this was actually difficult to do. Like, you could make strong arguments for a handful of guys. The biggest problems I ran into making my list, what's a peak?
Yeah.
Are we considering their best season in best, like, 1 year? Like, looking at 1 year? Because if we are, Corey Perry should be involved in this list. If we're considering a peak length of time, you know, just a handful of years or 5 years, like, what are we considering peak? And so that was the thing that tripped me up the most of, like, what do I do with those considerations? And I'll admit, I was inconsistent in my application of the answer.
Same.
There were some guys, like Austin Matthews isn't in my list, and he has a 60-goal season.
He made my list.
Yeah, he was. If he was 21 through 25, he would definitely be in there somewhere. Because at some point you're like, come on. But the playoffs, when you consider postseason success in there, I ended up slipping a goalie or two in here because I was like, I also had a really hard time with defensemen. I was worried that my list was going to be very D heavy, and I had a hard time being like, yeah, Victor Hedman's better than those guys. No, he's not.
I have at least one D on my list that I think people aren't going to like. I'll put it to you that way.
Well, I don't think there's wrong answers, right? I don't think there's wrong answers. It's also, I think you have to figure out, like, taste, right? You know what I mean? Like, I might like this guy and you don't really like him. So, you know what I mean? And when I say like him, we all like all those players. Like you said, I think 1 to 50, I think we're all going to say we like them. Maybe Eric Carlson, I would say no and you like him, but, you know, whatever. Just slipping a name in there. But, yeah, there's no wrong answers.
I love him.
Except, I know you do. Except AJ's answers are wrong and mine and Rudo's are right. That's it. But that's what we're doing.
Now you sound like a YouTube commenter.
There you go.
I mean, I technically run the show, so all my answers are always right. That's how it works, right?
Fair enough.
No, I would say my answers are usually wrong, especially when it comes to these lists. I always have something crazy, but Well, we'll see how it goes. We have our top 20 here. Again, 1 through 10 will be tomorrow, so make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. But we can start at the very back at number 20. Obviously, it's going to be hard to nail down. I'm sure we all have a bunch of different answers, especially deep down on our lists. So we can kind of play it fast and loose with who gets the spots. But who did we have to start off the bottom of the lists?
Who did you have?
I had Josh Morrissey as my number 20, and I think there's probably some recency bias here, but this is a guy who for the last 3 years has been in right around the final voting for the Norris Trophy, especially this last season. If we're looking at purely his peak, an extremely effective hockey player that has over the last 3 years found the offensive side to his game as well. Is he like a Hall of Famer? No. Is his peak probably going to be really short? Yes. But if we're talking strictly like peaks, where I do probably view it as more of a range of years than just his one absolute best year for most of these guys, that's the way I viewed it. And Morrissey, maybe, like I said, maybe there's some recency bias here. Maybe he should be more like 25, but I slipped him in at 20.
I wouldn't even have him in my top 30. Maybe not even my top 40.
Nah,
I could go crazy on some defensemen that are active who had crazy peaks.
You're way off on that front.
He's not even a top 5 defenseman today.
I have more than 5 ahead of him.
Oh my God, I have like 4 defensemen on my entire list. So that's bad.
Well, this was a hard conversation, right? Because like, how do you value defensemen? Because it's really easy to go in the list and just see like, oh, okay, here's all the dudes that had 120 points. Let's just put them on the list. But then you have defensemen that were actually good defensively, and it's like, where do you rank that as opposed to just dudes who are winning Norrises because they scored 90 points a year or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't mind
Eric.
I don't mind that you stuck him there. I don't have him on my list, but I don't mind your logical answer. I'm going to give you props. I don't mind. I mean, I'll give you what I had at 20. I had Bob at 20 for me. So that's who I have.
Bob way high.
I have Morrissey though.
I'm gonna chalk this up to rust on Rudo's part. He hasn't done a pod since last week.
I can take some rust.
At 20, I've got Mikko.
I had him at 18, so right in that range.
I had him at 16. Yeah. So perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, we all have him like right in that same area. So that's encouraging. I didn't originally have him, and then I had to drop Mark Stone because I was like, the guy's never had a 70-point season. Get out of my face. Like, Mikko has a 50-goal year on his record. Give me a break here. That guy rocks.
The peak is legit too. Yeah, 50 goal seasons for back-to-back 100-point seasons. He has a 90-point season following up with that. If you're looking at like the handful of peak years, there is a very legitimate case for Mikko on this list.
Yeah, and excellent in the postseason. So you're not even like, oh yeah, like this was my Austin Matthews problem. Like, oh, but the postseason starts. Okay, he's the greatest goal scorer of this generation, like this like cluster here. Sorry, but Ovi's great, greatest all time. But like right now, like Austin Matthews is number 1 for me, right? But you go into the playoffs and it's like it disappears, and so that's where I'm like, okay, great regular season peak, you get dinged, and that's ultimately where I landed, and that's why Mikko, I was like, I could legitimately, like, moving him up a little bit on the list would be easy, but most of the guys ahead of him on my list have hardware of some kind. And Mikko
has a couple.
Mikko has, even right now, today, Mikko may not even be the best player on his own team. And he certainly was never that case. That was never the case in Colorado.
Even the second best player in Colorado for most of his career.
Right. And that's like more of a testament to the guys around him, but also for me is that's his ceiling. He has not outplayed those guys. He hasn't taken home any kind of hardware. that's ultimately where I was like, I want to find a place for him, but it's the last place. It's 20.
I'm good with him at 20. I don't think we need to argue exact position too much. Like I said, on this half of the list, at least, it's going to be chaotic. So we can roll Rantanen in at 20. At 19, I'm going to let you guys take this one because I regret my answer. I don't think he should be on here, as I locked it in an hour ago, and now I'm looking at it like I don't like this. I had Patrick Kane, which is a really weird career arc. Obviously a great player, obviously headed for the Hall of Fame, but his actual peak wasn't actually that high. He had a couple of 100-point seasons, but never went back-to-back. He never had a 50-goal season. But he would pretty consistently be over a point-per-game player. It's just that through the early portions of his career, you either were dealing with lockouts or injuries that shortened seasons, and his peak didn't really happen until after Chicago's dynasty run. He really peaked immediately after that era of Chicago. And again, still an unbelievable player. But if we're talking strictly peaks, I'm regretting my choice of Patrick Kane.
Well,
Why? So are you regretting that he's this low or too high?
No, I think he shouldn't be on the list.
Oh crap.
I have him in my top 10.
No,
I have him
don't.
at 6.
I don't see that. I disagree with the concept of what we're calling a peak then, because I think a lot of what made Patrick Kane so good is being consistently really, really good. But when you look at his peaks, while very high for a normal hockey player, when we're talking top 20 peaks of all current players, I don't think it's particularly standout.
I disagree. The guy won Hart Trophy and Art Ross, and I guess if this matters, the Lester B. Pearson, all in the same year, while also being an elite postseason performer. So I think that we're going to have that same year he led the postseason in scoring. So I think I'll save the Patrick Kane fight for tomorrow because Eric and I are both right about this. He's in the top 10. You're out of your mind.
I do not. The more I looked into it, the more I feel like people overrate Patrick Kane. And I struggle with awards, I will say. Like Jamie Benn won an Art Ross, and no one is putting Jamie Benn anywhere near this list. So,
yeah, that's because that was an anomalous art. He won an Art Ross with 87 points or something. We can all just be like, wow, what a strange season. Throw it like Taylor Hall.
Yeah,
won
exactly.
an MVP.
Nowhere
Corey
near
Perry
this
won
list.
an MVP.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't going to be on this list because their careers didn't have that lengthy peak, despite being really good players. Patrick Kane was an elite player, and it's hard to judge when you go back and look in time in the scoring because scoring,
of course, it used to be a lot harder. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've seen 130, 140 point seasons the last handful of years. So a guy, he only had 89 points. It's fine. But, well, what is he, Martin Netches? But back then, 89 points was a significantly better accomplishment.
For me, I think, and this is, again, a flaw in my own doing. I think I tried to value consistency of their peak too much. I discredited people who had very, very short peaks. Even if they're below their peak was an elite level hockey player, if their peak was very brief, I discredited them quite a bit. So,
Well,
that's
either way, Kane's not going at 19. So who else you got?
Yeah. E, what you got?
Well, I had Bob at 20, and I had Panarin at 19. That's who I had.
Panarin was another guy that I struggled with. Just left him off my list.
Yeah, he was a just
but
miss
I
for
really, the peak is good. The playoffs aren't, and that's why I dropped him down a little bit. Is that he's never been a
yeah,
a 90-point season, a very justifiable place on this list, in my opinion.
Well, another guy I had just outside was Doughty, so I don't know if that helps, but whatever. If that helps with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, He's my 19.
I couldn't put Doughty in the list either. Just on the outside, there are too many other good defensemen, especially if we look over the last 10 years, like on the second half of Doughty's career, we've seen so many defensemen enter the league and immediately hit such high highs that Doughty's ever steady presence on the defensive end is really, really good. But when we're talking about peaks, Doughty's peaks were never that high. Like, he gets outshined, even if you're talking about, oh, well, the two-way super well-rounded defensively, someone like Hedman outpaces him for me by a significant enough margin that it's hard for me to put Doughty on the list.
So what pushed me over, he wins a Norris. And offensively, he plays on some really low-scoring Kings teams during his prime. Like at what we're talking about, his peak. So he's a much more low-scoring environment than a lot of these other guys, and he's putting up, 40, 50, 60 points, like right in that range. That's, I guess, 40 to 60 is a pretty huge range, but like he was in that cluster for a handful of years. What I'm saying is his peak. He wins a Norris, but he's also very, very, very good. The playoff runs, 2 cup runs. He's a number 1 D on 2 cup teams. And produces on those runs, not like crazy, but produces well. Again, lower scoring environment, and is elite defensively through that peak. So for me, Doughty, I thought Doughty was more of a where do I put him, and I don't love him, so that's why I had him at 19.
Let me ask you this: where was Taves for you?
Me, he was just on the outside.
Pretty high.
In the list?
I had him on the outside.
Yeah, I have him pretty high.
Okay, because I would have Taves ahead of Doughty. Taves didn't make my list. Doughty didn't make my list. But if you have Taves ahead of him, I'm good. I'm comfortable with how your order of operations went.
Yeah, I agree with this comment about I would have Duncan Keith's peak above Drew Doughty, but Duncan Keith is retired.
I was going to say he's not active.
Yeah.
All right. I'll wait.
I would agree.
I'm going to get back to Doughty after this break here. I'm going to get back to Doughty. I want to say something about Doughty.
Okay. Sorry about that. My headset died. If we are hitting our first break, we can jump over to the fantastic folks at Empire Today. Jump in with them. Of course, they are the flooring experts. Wherever you go, they only have the best products. They don't carry all the other junk that big box stores might carry, whether it's hardwood, tile, carpet, you name it. They have the best stuff, so you get what you need when it comes to your flooring. You can head on over to empiretoday.com/DNVR. It's your best bet for new floors. Jump in and schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. And you can get $350 off your new floors with code DNVR. Yeah, you heard that right. $350 off with code DNVR over at Empire Today. You can visit empiretoday.com/DNVR for full details. Again, jump in with them. You can also go online and use their tools there, or you can always call 1-800-588-2300. Empire. Once you got your new floors situated with Empire Today, hopefully better than the base of my top 20 list, because mine's crazy, but Empire Today will give you the good stuff. You can also get in with the official vehicle of DNVR, which is Toyota. They're also the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche, so they've got you covered. Whatever type of vehicle you need, whether it's trucks, SUVs, sedans, they've got them all, ranging from the Toyota Tundra, if you want the truck side, or, you can go get a Corolla if you just want a little daily driver. Either way, it works. And they have 17 different vehicles with all-wheel drive, so when you're here in Colorado, it'll cover you through the snow, or if you want to go have some fun off-roading, whichever way you prefer. They also have the most hybrid or low-emission vehicles of any automaker out there, with 16 different hybrid or zero-emission vehicles. That even includes trucks like the Tundra iForce Max. So they've got you covered with hybrids too. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores, including AutoNation Toyota, Rapid Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. Let's go places. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I feel like we were most comfortable with Panarin, but I'm good with whoever at 19.
I'm fine with Panarin.
Okay. We'll lock in Panarin at 19. At 18, I had Rantanen.
Go ahead. Yeah, he probably would have been like 22 or 23 on my list. Like he would have been in my top 25, so I'm good.
Yeah. 18, I had Rantanen, so that's already covered. What did y'all have?
What did you want to finish up on Doughty?
Oh, my bad.
No, all I was saying about Doughty was, for me, for a couple years, he was the most dominant defenseman in the league. You know, like I bet you, if you asked 32 at the time, it wasn't 32, but 30. If you got one guy to pick on D, who do you pick? I bet you pretty close to 100% you're getting Doughty for those couple years. That's all I was saying about him. You know, I thought he was dominant. I thought he played with passion, and you know, I mean, I don't know, that's for me. Doughty was, again, I'm not saying I know him, I'm a fan. No, I just thought he was dominant. I think he, for a couple seasons, he was the best D in the league, in my book. Yeah.
Our conversation's peak. It's not career.
I'm comfortable with that, but being the best defenseman in the league at that time doesn't make his peak better than other people that came at different times. I would put it to you that way. Just because all the defensemen sucked when he was really good. 18. What do we got?
I'm going back to the Kings. I have Jonathan Quick.
Oh wow.
We're talking peak. The guy went 16-4 in a playoff run where he had a .940 save percentage.
Yeah.
Does it get any more peak than like an all-time great dominant postseason run like that? And it's not a total one-off. Yeah, his second cup run he wasn't nearly as good, but he won a lot of games. He was always in contention for awards. Like, I think that one of the hardest parts of this exercise for me was trying to remember how good guys were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, who are still like in the tail end of their careers. But I think like Jonathan Quick is like that. We're talking peaks here. The guy's peak was awesome. And they won, again, a lower scoring environment in LA. They won the Jennings, I think, twice in his career. Never won a Vezina though, and that hurts the case.
I mean, I'm a big fan of his, so I didn't even think about him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing him. I thought he was outstanding. Same thing. Is just a little bit cut from the same cloth as Doughty. You know, it was about passion and, you know what I mean, like gamers. You know what I mean? Like I thought he was a gamer. I don't. I'm not arguing it. You know.
I didn't put Quick on my list more than anything just because I hate ranking goalies in these things, but also again, I was a guy who looked a little bit more at the longevity of their peak, and his peak was very, very short. It was basically that 1 year, and then maybe the playoff run the next season.
It was more like he was like the fifth or sixth best goalie for like half a decade than it was he was like the number one guy. But we're talking about his peak, like a .946 save percentage in 20 postseason games is
it's outrageous.
Unbelievable. That's but like it's like the mother load of peaks. So that's what pushed it ahead for me.
I left him off. I'll let you be the arbiter of whether he should be on here or we're snubbing AJ.
I mean, like I said, I had Bob in there. You know what I mean? So Bob, because he's got 3. I mean, 2 and a final.
I mean,
but I don't know. I mean,
the thing with Bob is
similar.
His peak was arguably in Columbus. Like he posted back-to-back 930 seasons in Columbus.
Vezina. Yeah, I mean, I had Bob. I didn't have Quick, as you guys know. So, but
it's fair.
I'm okay with Quick. You know what I mean? I got 2 cups. I mean, it's very similar. You know what I mean? So I'm all right with Quick. I'm fine with it. If that's what we want, that's fine.
All right. We'll put a soft Quick in, and we might change it depending on who we come up with. He might get bumped.
I'm happy to win the Quick one after losing the Downey one.
Yeah, well, I've lost Morrissey and Kane so far, and I'm about to lose this one too.
Nice.
Oh shoot.
I understand people are going to disagree with me on this one, but at 17, I had Brent Burns. When you don't think of him this way, but when you go look at the prime of his career as a defenseman, he was like surprisingly dominant force on the ice. Like,
dude.
In some way, it was a lot more wild and a lot more like shot oriented. But in some ways, he kind of prototyped stylistically what Cale Makar does on the ice, in the like unbelievable offensive volume from your defenseman that can create in every possible way from the blue line. Obviously, he's a bit bigger and had that side of his game. Doesn't quite have the defensive acumen that some of the top defensemen that I'm going to have on my list have. But really, alongside Erik Karlsson, who's much, much higher on this list for me, it was kind of that first wave of defensemen bringing the NHL into that modern post-lockout era of crazy high-flying defensemen.
Brent Burns, I love this because he was a guy that I wasn't 100% comfortable with what to do with him. But when you are talking about peak, he had a 5-year run where, unlike with Drew Doughty, 5 straight years where he had more than 60 points. He had 100 block shots. He also hit people back then. He had a couple seasons with 100 hits. And
he used that size.
He was a top 3 finisher in Norris Trophy voting 3 of those 5 seasons, including the one that he won in 2016-17, the year that my brain just immediately ejects out.
No one here remembers that year.
Yeah. That was Cale Makar's draft year, not the Brent Burns Norris year. Get out of here. So, like, honestly, I didn't have him on my list, but I mean, there's a really good argument there. He's got hardware. He's got the production. He's got the two-way ability. Like, there's everything there. He was even good in their postseason. Not great, though. He had one really good playoff run, but he was not quite as good as you would have liked. And maybe that's just me shading because I look at some of the other defensemen, the postseason runs from other defensemen that we've seen in the last 15 years. And you're like, whoa, these are all pretty crazy. And Brent Burns was like he had 24 points in 24 games in their run to the Cup final.
I do feel like a lot of people shade just everyone from that era of the Sharks for not getting it over the line.
Yes.
So I think he suffers from that a little bit.
Frankly, I have no issue with Brent Burns here. I really don't. I think there's a really good argument for it.
I mean, I'm okay with him too. I mean, I've always liked him. You guys know that. I had more. Hey, that was my mistake a little bit. It's not, again, like I said, there's no wrong answers. I just had a few more forwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, I'll use the name Kaprizov. Maybe he's not on your list, but you know what I mean? I was just like, for me, he's so dominant right now. But that's kind of why Brent Burns and company are not on it. But if we want to put Burns there, I got no issues.
Yeah, I struggled with Kaprizov. He was right in that Panarin range for me too. The highs maybe not quite high enough. Some of the injuries he's had maybe held him back. And like, I think Kaprizov is a great example of if we do this list again in 2 years, Kaprizov, pretty decent chance he's on it if he pops off one of those years. So,
absolutely, man. Kaprizov, somebody in chat mentioned Quinn Hughes. Like, you give Quinn Hughes 2 more years and he'll be on my list. He's not right now.
Yeah, I had Hughes initially.
Same thing with Kaprizov. Don't have him there.
I had Hughes initially, but ultimately left him off just because the longevity isn't there. And honestly, like, I'm confident Quinn Hughes is going to have a better season than he's ever had over the next couple of years, but he hasn't had it yet. So
he's at the beginning of a peak that should get him on this list.
I got him there. I got him right there at 15, but I'll take him out. Those are fair arguments, but I had him there. So if people in chat can like me or not like me for having Quinn Hughes there, but we can scratch him.
I mean, he deserves to be in the conversation. I just had him outside the top 20.
Yeah.
16 for me. Actually, before we do 16, let's take our second break since we are on time for it here. As we are brought to you by the fantastic folks over at Monarch Money. If you need to get a hold of your money, Monarch Money is one of the best ways to do it. Finances are always messy and confusing, but Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. Don't just manage your money, start building wealth. 50% off your first year for our listeners exclusively. Jump in. It's rated one of the best apps, in fact, the best budgeting app by Wall Street Journal in 2025, and it's been given over 30,000 finally. You can track your spending, savings, and investments effortlessly. Wow, I can speak. So you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Get control over your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DNVR at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DNVR. And once you got control of your finances with Monarch Money, maybe you got a little bit of extra spending cash to go get yourself some amazing shades. Don't stare into the sun like an idiot like I do. Go get yourself shady rays so you can see actually when you're driving down the road. You can go get in with a bunch of different designs and a bunch of amazing sunglasses, hundreds of different ones to choose from. And when you use code DNVR over at shadyrays.com, you can get 35% off any pair of your polarized sunglasses. It's super awesome. I highly recommend you check these guys out. Maybe the best part is their replacement policy. If you lose them, break them, or just don't like them. In the first 30 days, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So, you can actually wear your sunglasses, not worry about it. If they break, no big deal. You can jump in with Shady Rays at any occasion. Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with them to bring you this exclusive offer, as I mentioned, 35% off with code DNVR on any pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself and get the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I can feel the rust there. The rust was in on those ad reads for sure. It was a struggle. Number 16.
For the record, I had Steven Stamkos at 17.
I couldn't. When I looked, not that he isn't really good, but it just compared to the other elite goal scorers that I ended up with on this list, like I have Matthews at 16.
I have Matthews at 10.
I would pretty comfortably put Matthews over Stamkos. And I know Stamkos had the 160 goal season, which is crazy talk, especially that time. Ovi did it in the same time as well. But dude had a 100-point season once in his entire career, and it came years and years and years and years later when Tampa went on to lose to the Avs.
That was the hard part with Stamkos for me. What's his peak?
Yeah.
Because when you're an elite goal scorer like that, they're going to come and go a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have like a 4-year run where all 50 goal seasons or something, right? Like it. Yep. And as you're saying, like the assists have always been a little bit lower. Guys have spent their whole career setting him up, not the other way around. And that's where I think that it's a very fair criticism, but I also look at the way that he played during those Tampa Bay making the 3 straight cup finals.
Their cup runs,
he was excellent during the regular seasons and then excellent during the playoffs. So for me, I was like at the bottom of my list. I'm comfortable putting him in here somewhere, but I don't feel strongly about it.
I struggled with this too, and I'm sure we'll talk about this with Crosby next show. But what do you do with a guy who deals with injury in the middle of what was, ultimately the highest level that they were playing in their career?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard. Honestly, we just talked about it a little bit with Kirill Kaprizov. If he hadn't had injury, he might be on this list because he'd have multiple 100-point seasons and, by far their best player. But yeah, I'm not I'm not married to Stamkos on this list. Obviously, you guys are going to veto that. I'm comfortable with it, but it's just more than anything, I'm fascinated by how different all three of our lists are. For three people that usually like are in the same area on a lot of these things, our lists are wild.
I mean, Stamkos, I had him. Like I said, I had him at 12. So
12. That's way too high.
Yeah.
Wow, Rudo hating.
I'm look, you guys hated on my bottom end pick, so I got to give a little bit of hate back. All right,
I can take it. I
did want to. I want to ask you because, like, AJ was kind of talked about it. I talked about it a little bit. When you talk about peak, what is a peak? Is it 1 year? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? What constitutes a player's peak?
Well, the way I took him, and maybe I was wrong, is the way I took it is more like I talked about Doughty, how dominant he was. You know what I mean? And then for me, Stamkos was probably the most dominant goal scorer for a couple years in a row there. Kind of like Matthews is right now, give and take. You know what I mean? In that sense, that's kind of what I was taking. And that's why I was saying at the start, there's no right or wrong answers. We're messing around here and going at each other for fun. But I mean, there's no right or wrong answers. I mean, for me, it's like you'll convince yourself of that peak, if you like the guy, and then you'll convince yourself, like Carlson, I'll convince myself I don't like him. You know what I mean? So it's like whatever you're gonna tell me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, no. You know what I mean? So does that make sense? So it's hard to explain, but it's like for me, it's more the dominance factor. You know what I mean? Were they that dominant for? That's kind of how I took the, for me, that was the peak. You know what I mean? Like at their peak, they were the best power forward in the league. They were the best goal scorer in the league. You know what I mean? So kind of how I took it.
Eric's gonna have Crosby way higher than I do. Got it.
With Stamkos, you do look and I mentioned the 3 years they go to the Cup final, but you look at those first couple of years, he puts up years 2, 3, and 4 in his career. He puts up 95 points, 91 points, and 97 points, and he wins 2 Rocket Richards, and he finishes second in Hart Trophy voting. Like, that's a really good peak. Stamkos.
Who was that? Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's why I had him in there. Again, it's not one of my favorites, you know what I mean? He's never been, but I was like, oh. I thought you guys would have him in there.
Also not my kind of guy.
I think you guys have convinced me he can go on here. I will say maybe I should have had Stamkos higher. I think he gets overshadowed a little bit because everyone just goes, oh, Ovechkin was the best goal scorer from that generation, and we move on with our lives.
Yep.
True. And Stamkos is second to him, but I'm good if he has him.
Very true.
Yeah, if he has him at 12, I'm good with Stamkos at 16. That's fine. 15. Well, you guys go first on this one because my answer is going to be wrong, but I still like
it. So I'm a little behind. Just
whatever's next on your list. Yeah,
my 16 is Bobrovsky.
Yeah, I had him 20. I had him at 12, so 16 is a good in between then.
Yes. So we have 12, 16, and 20. So yeah, 16 is like right in the middle. I guess it would be 15 on this list.
Yeah, he's better than Stamkos. Lock it in. We talked about it earlier. Bob is a weird one because he kind of had 2 peaks, right? He had his peak in Columbus on a really bad team where he was unbelievably good as an individual in net. And then he's had the second coming of his career in Florida where it's a little weird, right? Because you'll remember that first year, he wasn't even a starter for game 1 of the playoffs, but his career is now turned into one of a guy that you're talking about. Was he a Hall of Famer? Maybe not. He's now a ultimate surefire lock. This guy will make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, now you're looking at he's got 2 Stanley Cups and 2 Vezinas.
Yeah, right.
Like it went from if you did the player A, player B game at one point with Sergei Bobrovsky and Semyon Varlamov, they would have been almost identical. That is not the case anymore.
Yeah.
So now he's easily a Hall of Famer, but also like the peak question with him is probably the toughest because as you mentioned, what's his peak?
Yep.
Is it the Vesnas, which do come like 4 years apart?
Yeah.
Like
It's
he
very,
was
very weird.
Yeah, and he had a couple of down years in there, like down years, where he was okay to solid, and then he's the best goalie in the league twice. So such an odd career. It's hard to put him exactly like at his absolute best. Where does he fit on this list? Like with Jonathan Quick, very easy. It's these couple of years. Brent Burns, it's these couple of years.
Yeah.
Bobrovsky, you're like,
Right.
well, it's like that year, and then a couple years later, and then a couple years later. So yeah, he's a tough one.
Hall of
All
Fame
right.
for the best bit, though. Best hockey bit. Bobrovsky wins. He's number one in my heart for that.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
All right. Bobrovsky's back on the force. Who's next on your list, AJ? You're at 15?
Yeah, I've got Erik Karlsson. I know that Eric's not going to like this.
I have Karlsson much higher, so
I wanted to move Karlsson up, but when I was looking at his career and I'm looking at like, it's hard because again, you look at his defenseman scoring during that time, and you're comparing it to what we see defensemen doing now, production wise, and you're like, it's not really that great. But at the time, ain't nobody doing what he was doing, and he wasn't like it wasn't like with Brent Burns in San Jose where he was on a jacked team with Hall of Fame guys around him. He did not have that in Ottawa. He was Ottawa for a number of years. And that they got as deep as they did because he was so brilliant in the postseason. Like, yeah, I get Eric is like, oh, the guy that hasn't played defense one day in his life. I get it. But with Karlsson, he's so dominant offensively. You talk about Drew Doughty being dominant defensively and being a big part of that Kings culture. Ooh, Erik Karlsson was nasty up there, and it would feel insane to me to leave him off this list.
I think it's insane to leave him outside the top 10. There is one active NHL defenseman with a 100-point season, and it's Erik Karlsson.
Yeah, and that's on a bad team where they allowed him to completely 100% sell out for offense.
Totally. It's
to
the
boost
perfect
the trade
situation.
value and move on.
But like, if we're talking about peak, like he just got the peak situation, right? Like it's no different than Mikko getting to play with McKinnon.
His 101-point season comes sandwiched in between a 35-point season and a 56-point season. That's just an outlier. That's not a peak.
Then Jonathan Quick's peak wasn't a peak.
That's why he's got an asterisk next to his name.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you guys Karlsson. I can't do it. But again, I'm not here to argue. Like I said, it's just a taste. I don't know. I want to win, and it's like, I don't think so.
The guy also won three Norrises.
Yeah.
Again, the most recent of those being that outlier season, but he had a 6-year stretch where he won 2 Norrises and finished second in Norris Trophy voting twice. So 4 out of 6-year stretch where he was a top 2 voted as a top 2 defenseman in the NHL.
And the only reason Doughty won one is because of voter fatigue. And they were like, well, we finally have to give one to Doughty. We can't keep doing this.
That one of those seconds should have been a first. Definitely.
Yeah. And I will say, I know we got to speed up a little bit here, but another guy, what is Erik Karlsson's peak if his ankle doesn't implode on him? Like,
oh, yeah. Yeah, it's true.
All right. AJ continues to be the voice of middle reason as I have guys too high and he has guys too low. So I guess we'll lock Erik Karlsson in.
I lost.
I have one here that I assume is not going to make the list, but I had Pasternak at 15. He's on a 3-year 100-point run. He had a 60-goal season in that stretch, especially this last year. The Boston team around him fell apart, and he still proved that he was unbelievably good as an individual hockey player. For me, he was ahead of Matthews even. He was one ahead of my Matthews pick. So
did you have?
I had Pasta at 9. So
okay, I can't go that high, but
I had him at 13. So you're like, oh, I don't think he's gonna be on there.
we're just
I think
building.
he
We're just
is.
building AJ's list at this point, man.
it's like I'm so
Yeah, I had him at
dumb that like I'm losing my slots, and then AJ's building his list to a T of what his list is, and I can't even see it. I'm getting fleeced. I'm getting fleeced like a GM falling asleep right here.
Oof,
Yeah, I
that's what I
mean,
feel like.
Pasta. I think you laid out the case for Pasternak perfectly. He Patrice Bergeron retires and he puts up back-to-back 100-point seasons.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, man. All right. No pretending like that guy was a creation of a great center. No, get out of here.
Plus, he does the best dunking commercials in the league, so it's all good. He's an actor. No, I like him. I think he's a hockey player. I think he doesn't need superstars to play with. He'll play good. Like you just said, he can play with Bergeron. He'll play good. He can play with whatever, Zaka. He'll play good. He's.
Yep.
I think he just makes people around. I mean, I think last year was absolutely ridiculous with, what does he have, 100 points, and then the next guy's got 50 points or something like that on their team. It's stupid. You know what I mean? Like it
outrageous.
doesn't. I know Marshy left and all that kind of stuff, but it just doesn't make sense. Like he can play with anybody, and he'll be productive. So that's what I like about
Yeah.
him. I don't think he's an excuse guy. I think he just goes out and produces.
Yeah. Last year the Bruins had two guys that broke 50 points. Morgan Geekie at 57 and David Pasternak at 106.
It doesn't make it's
Like-
crazy.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
No,
Teams
it's
can
absolutely
sell
crazy.
out to try and stop that guy, and they still can't do it.
Oh yeah.
All right. Pasta's locked in. Have we skipped any in your list? What do you have to round it out?
I'm going. But I mean, I had one guy in there. Obviously, it's too low now. But I had him
You can
earlier, and
remove
you
quick.
guys. No. I mean, we talked about him a little bit earlier. Like I think it was before the show, but I had Jack Eichel there. So I mean, that's I get it. If he doesn't make the list, and like I said, AJ's gonna put me to sleep here, and then I'm gonna forget about him, and he's gonna slide his number 12 in. I get it, but I'm just kidding.
We skipped
No, I
one,
had
I guess.
Eichel in there just because I felt he was such a difference maker with that run in Vegas. You know what I mean? And they needed that big number one center. He is the number one center. He's good on both sides. He's a horse. He proved that he can play at the right times. That's why I had him there. I had Eichel in there. But again, I do believe now at 12 is way too low. So he might be
Yeah,
outside 20, which I get. I get it.
Eichel's another one of those. You give this 2 more years,
Yeah.
and I think Eichel has. Well, there's a really good chance that Eichel makes a much stronger case because right now, he's coming off the 94-point year. That's the kind of thing that's going to pop on this list in this era of scoring. His last 2 seasons, 60 points. And
injury stuff a lot.
you're not wrong though about the way that he absolutely dominated in that playoff run, the cup run.
Yeah.
He led the league in their cup run. He led the league in assists and points. Like he was a monster in that run.
His other 2 shorter runs too. He's been a point per game guy. Like genuinely, if he didn't play his first 6 years in Buffalo, he might be on this list, but he did. So
yeah,
we're trying to finding a way to bash Buffalo. I like. That's crazy. All right.
it's hard.
Are there any other guys that we had passed over on your list where we are?
I had Vasilevsky in there too, but
He's in my top 10.
Oh, I have him at 11, so we're getting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Perfect. All right, so we're on the same page. I'm looking right now.
What else you got?
Oh, that my names have been scratched, or I'm scratching them as we go. You know what I mean? So I'm on target right now. I said it like Eichel had not been scratched yet, which I felt it was, and then Vassy. So that's where I'm at from my list.
At 14, I had a guy that recency bias, et cetera, but I had Sasha Barkov. I didn't really.
Oh yeah.
14 would be too high for me. I flirted with him in the like Rantanen and Panarin range though.
The regular season scoring is lower, but his games played are also lower, and so I try to account for that, and the fact that he has won back-to-back Selkies. He's won 3 Selkies in the last 5 years, and he's captained 2 Stanley Cup teams. And I was like, this is it. This is the peak. He's in a 5-year peak right now.
I struggle with 2 things. One, it's so hard to rate defensive acumen on a list like this. Like,
yeah, it is.
I don't know how you find a good value point when you're putting that in these lists, and Barkov obviously has that in spades. 2, he misses 10 to 15 games every year, which I think holds him back a little bit.
Yep.
Like if you're looking raw points per game, Barkov is nasty, but actual totals suffer a little bit because you look at his game 67, 68, 73, 67 in the last 4 years. He just doesn't quite play enough.
Frankly, his whole career.
Yeah, you're right. He's had one full, I guess, basically 2 full seasons.
Yeah, 2 full seasons. Otherwise, he's missed at least 11 games. Like the guy just is never healthy. But his 2 back-to-back Stanley Cup runs, 22 points, 22 points. So I'm like, this is a nasty peak. I think we'll look back on it in a few years and have a better appreciation for it.
That's fair.
Probably. Ow. I'm gonna scratch him though. Yeah.
All right.
Ow.
He's not going in the list. Will you pinch your thumb or something?
No, I was trying to pop my finger and it flew out of my hand and hit the side of my desk right on the corner. Oh,
stabbed it.
That's
stabbed it. That's what you get for trying to put Barkov on the list. Confirmed.
It's fine. It's fine. I don't mind. That's one of the guys where I'm like, yeah, all right. It's fine with me.
Can we put Vassy though? Can we put Vassy there?
Well, he's probably going 11. He's probably going 11, okay. So let's hold off. I had Hedman, which I assume you guys don't have. My Hedman was my 13.
Okay.
I understand if you want to leave him off.
Hedman is a guy, I got to be honest with you, I totally overlooked. But I love him. You know what I mean? Like, I love him. And I'm embarrassed to say I overlooked him because I think he should be on the list. Yeah, so I'll come clean and I'll say that I overlooked him. And I should get punched out for forgetting to put him on the list.
To be honest, I think the conversation is very similar to what we had with Doughty. I think Hedman's offensive peak was a little bit higher, but as AJ talked about, how much of that is Doughty playing in that anti-scoring environment as opposed to a Tampa Bay team who, especially in the later years, started to be an offensive juggernaut. I think he deserves some credit for his defensive ability as well, but then I also think there's a lot of people that wildly overrate Hedman defensively. So
that's where I am with it. That's why he's not on my list, is because I've always felt like he got way, way, way overrated. They have always had really good defensive defensemen on that roster that do a lot of their defensive heavy lifting. They put those assignments on guys who are not Hedman, and to me, that's what kind of removed him from that conversation. But there's no denying the results here, where you look at a 6-year run where he's in the top 3 of Norris voting every single season, like an absolute god tier run. Only wins 1, finishes in 3rd place 5 times. So hell of a peak. The scoring is down. 70 points, 60 points, 54. Like, it's down a little bit. Really good in the postseason. I don't have him on my list, but I'm also not gonna like throw a hissy fit about it. Like Josh Morrissey, I would have been mad. Victor Hedman, I think it's like I'm good with Victor Hedman being somewhere on our list. He's a undeniable horse. He's averaged 25 minutes a game for like half a decade. Like, the guy rocks. He's not my personal favorite.
So in my head canon, he replaces Quick. That's fine.
Oh yeah, he can. I would actually love if he wanted to replace Quick. I think that's a great placement.
All right.
I'm okay
Deal.
with it.
We'll call it heading in at 18. Over quick.
Great.
Look at AJ. Soft.
Okay. My 11 was Bobrovsky, so that's covered. What did you guys have at 12 and 11?
My 12 is Anze Kopitar.
Yeah. I'm good with it.
I'm good with that too.
He was
Just
a 10
felt like the
for me,
sweet
but
spot
it's
for
fine. Yeah.
a guy that everything that we
machine.
talked about with the Kings so far.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys where it's like, is his whole career just his peak?
It's a fair question because, like, you look at the numbers and you're like, wow, he has like a 190-point year that comes out of nowhere that is buried in between a 50-point season and a 60-point season. He breaks 30 goals 3 times in his entire career, but also, like, the Selke, the postseason success, #1 center on Cup champions, but both of those Cup runs, point per game player. So we're talking about his offense not being as high during the regular season, point per game player in 2 Cup runs. So for me,
so
that's the
consistent.
peak.
So consistent and hard minutes. Those are hard minutes. That's tough assignments. You know what I mean? I love that player. Man, oh man, is he consistent? And I bet you he could still. I mean, again, I believe this is his last year, but I bet you could play another 3-4 years easily. You know, because the way he plays is so, again, consistent. And you know what you're going to get when you're a coach. You know exactly what you're putting out there. So this guy's like, what do you call that? Underrated. You know, I mean, certainly not an overrated player. He's an underrated player.
Yeah. Although we have him 12 on our list, it feels like he's pretty well rated.
Yeah, that seems decently rated, but you know, it happens.
No, for people, you know, when they talk about him, sometimes he's the guy you forget, you know, because he's not flashy.
Yeah. My actual, I guess it was 12. Bob was my 11. I had Yossi, but I don't think that's going to make the cut. So is this just the Vasilevsky conversation?
It is for me. I have him at 11, yeah.
Yeah, I have him at 9, I think. So
I had him at 13. Yeah, 13 on my list. But the big cat was, you're talking about peaking and dominant and all the above. And, you know, games after a loss, like in the playoffs, something ridiculous. His record was absolutely, like, stunning. Yeah, again, big, athletic. It's a combination you don't see a lot of. Obviously, his last few years have not been as good. You know what I mean? But for a stretch there, he was amazing.
We're past the peak. There's no doubt about that. But
it's that regular season peak was, or the peak, sorry, was those 3 years, the Cup run years. But his regular seasons continue to be outstanding. But 3 playoffs in a row where he's been poor.
Yep. It's the thing with Vasilevsky is his regular seasons are really good, but none of them are like unbelievably good. Like there are a number of goalies who have had better singular seasons, but the body of work and the body of playoff work from Vasilevsky is what is just it's Patrick Waugh-esque, to be honest with you. Maybe not quite as good, but that playoff you need to stop factor for that run, Vasilevsky absolutely had it.
Yeah. So. I mean, 3 years in a row, he goes a 927, a 937, and a 922.
Yep.
In 70 playoff games. Like,
outrageous.
That's a goated run. He averaged a 928 save percentage across 71 postseason games 3 years in a row. Like, girl, that's peak.
Right.
Yeah, that's a peak. There's no doubt about that. We are headed into overtime for today's show. Head over to thednvr.com to join the conversation online as it continues. Don't think overtime will be too long today, but you know, this is the first half of our top current player peaks, numbers 20 to 11. I think you guys can guess most of the names that will be in tomorrow's show, but what
I don't
order
think you
are they going to come in? I think you can.
I've got 2 guys in my top 10 that you guys both just shrugged off. So
I mean, surely the top 6 or so should be the same guys, just in different orders.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just because
my
you
top-
love Devon Taves too much is
my top 4 feels unimpeachable, and I'm ready to fight you guys if we disagree on any of my top 4.
I
order
imagine we
can argue about.
we'll have different orders, I'm confident, but I think we probably have the same guys.
Probably.
I'm ready to fight.
Well, you'll have to save it for tomorrow.
I'm excited to see where you guys put the abs.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
I won't spoil anything. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Bruno's like, I don't have any abs.
No, I have both the abs, but I won't tell you where I put them.
I got
I think I'm
Dermy
gonna
in
get
there.
haters.
Yeah, there you go. Dermy, #1 fighter peak.
That's
Matt
right.
Grizzlick.
Grizzly Bear.
Man, his McDermott, Matt Grizzlick, Yoel Kiviranta is Eric's 1, 2, 3. Easy.
The cat
right.
is making it.
That's
The
right.
cat is sneaking into top 10.
Meow.
Anyway, we are gonna wrap up the show today. It's been a fun one. It's good to be back on the show. Looking forward to a bunch of August nonsense with you guys. We got some decent shows lined up. We got some good ideas in the bag for some good shows for y'all. So keep it tuned in here on YouTube. Also, reminder that the trade tree videos are coming soon. Hopefully it's this week. We're waiting on the final graphics because I draw trade trees like I'm a 3-year-old, and then the DNVR graphics team makes them look beautiful. So that's my fault. But when it's done, check it out on YouTube. It'll be a fun video. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.